The Malta and Gozo Islands in the Maltese archipelago have surfaces filled with hundreds, perhaps even thousands of parallel lines carved deep into the stony ground. These ancient Maltese tracks, or what some refer to as cart ruts, have been found in obvious locations as well as the most unusual places, on the edges of cliffs, along the coast, and even under the sea. Therefore, many believe these grooves in Malta's bedrock are prehistoric and unique, remaining an unsolved mystery today. Cart ruts are man-made dual channels or parallel tracks and grooves sunken into rock. The ruts themselves can vary greatly in their size. Some can be narrow and deep, some can be shallow and wide, and the rest can be anything in between. They're carved in both smooth and rough rocky surfaces, and like in the case of the cart ruts found in the Malta Islands, these parallel grooves can be etched into limestone bedrock. In Malta, the cart ruts appear in single pairs, in groups, and are perfectly parallel. In other words, they're really old and made perfectly. These ancient channels are about 8 to 15 centimeters deep, but some are up to 60 centimeters deep. Each pair of ruts have a standard distance from each other of 1.4 meters, but each can vary by several centimeters. Some tracks cross each other while others branch off, forming junctions like a large railway switching yard. These grooves run along the island's valleys, hills, and even disappear into the Mediterranean Sea. While the cart ruts on Malta are impressive structures, they are not unique and also exist in Sicily, Sardinia, Italy, Greece, southern France, and Cyrenaica. However, not all of them have the same origin or the same purpose. In Malta itself, there are potentially as many as 150 sites that have cart ruts, including the ones found in St. Paul's Bay, Naxar, San Juan, and Bidnija. However, the most well-known site in the archipelago is the Misra Gar il-Kabir, which is more popularly referred to as the Clapham Junction. The Clapham Junction is located in the southern side of the Maltese island and features an enormous number of tracks, making it the largest concentration of cart ruts in the country. The site was given the nickname Clapham Junction because a network of overlapping cart tracks resemble the busy rail station of the same name in London. The sunken grooves at the site have varying gauges, depths, and widths. They're also shaped differently, with some narrowing at the bottom while others remain flat. Now, many different theories have been presented attempting to answer when, how, and why these Malta cart ruts were created. Some researchers have connected the mysterious tracks to the temple sites of Malta and Gozo. The Maltese island has over 30 stone temple complexes and structures dating back to have been built from 5,500 to 2,500 BC, making them some of the oldest known freestanding monuments on the planet. Some even believe the cart ruts may be the proof experts have been seeking to solve the puzzle of how supposedly primitive people built these ancient temples. It's also speculated that the man-made dual channels were made by settlers who arrived in Malta from Sicily sometime at the beginning of the Bronze Age around 2000 BC. However, Maltese archaeologist Anthony Bonanno has also presented an alternative theory about the date of the cart ruts on the island, suggesting that the tracks could be Phoenician constructions that were made more recently, possibly in the 7th century BC. As to how the ruts in Malta were made, some archaeologists assume they were inadvertently carved while using some kind of wheeled vehicles. These carts, skids, or sleds could have carried heavy loads, and with people repeatedly using the same route for decades or centuries, the island's limestone ground was inevitably scarred over time as a consequence. However, some have objected to this hypothesis that all of the ruts in Malta were caused by wheeled carts or sleds carrying heavy loads. They argue that some of the tracks appeared to be too perfectly formed, as if they were carved by hand using special tools. One such individual is author and journalist Graham Hancock, and in his book Underworld: The Mysterious Origins of Civilization, he said, "It is certain, too, that they were not simply worn away in the tough limestone by the passage of cartwheels over periods of centuries, as many have wrongly theorized. On the contrary, there is no proof whatsoever that cartwheels ever ran in these ruts, which were initially carved out of the bedrock with the use of tools. If the people residing on the island of Malta created and deliberately shaped these enigmatic ruts, then these channels obviously played a valuable purpose in the lives of these ancient people. Exactly what role has been lost over the passage of time, and experts who dedicated their lives studying these cart ruts have not yet agreed on the original purpose. So, some out-of-this-world theories became popular, providing fascinating answers to this mystery. One of the wildest speculations is that they were used for landing tracks for spaceships, and some think they might be coded messages to the gods. But a more popular theory is that the Malta archipelago may be part of the legendary city of Atlantis. Of course, there are other theories presented over the years that people find much easier to believe. One being transporting agricultural products by guiding cows pulling carts along them to return home on their own. Australian archaeologist Claudia Sagona from Birmingham University has a different idea on what the ancient channels found in this country are for. Sagona argued that the cart ruts were actually irrigation ditches from the Stone Age. According to her, in ancient times, torrential rains had washed away the island's topsoil, and so the farmers at that time had no other choice but to invent new ways of tending to their crops. She suggests that the Maltese farmers carved this network of trenches into the island's limestone bedrock to channel away water, conserve rainwater, and to protect the soil. Another likely purpose of the cart ruts is that they transported stones from ancient quarries across the island. This theory was suggested by archaeologist Anthony Bonanno, and a few of those who conducted a detailed survey on the Clapham Junction agreed that many of the channels found on the Maltese island are associated with the nearby quarries of the time. Transportation of stones from these quarries via the cart ruts found in different parts of the island supposedly made the construction of the ancient temples in Malta possible. This network of tracks is also believed to have been utilized by people for the exportation of quarried stones to Africa. Though some of these theories are undeniably appealing and quite popular, none of them have flawless reasoning. And so even now, there is still no consensus on what the original purpose of the cart ruts on Malta could be, especially since experts supporting one theory cleverly presented arguments casting doubt on the plausibility of other theories and vice versa. For now, the Malta cart ruts' true origin and purpose remain unsolved. While many don't consider the cart ruts on Malta as proof a highly advanced ancient civilization once dominated the area, these ancient networks of parallel trenches and channels are at least a testament and reminder that our ancient ancestors may be more advanced and enlightened than we give them credit for. Besides, even without insisting its archaeological merits, it remains undeniable that these ancient tracts are truly fascinating as well as a puzzling sight to behold.